Well, good morning. I don't know what the deal is, but today I am so thirsty. I drank a whole one of these last night, and I even went in about 3 this morning and filled it again, and I'm almost done. Good news is I went over to DaVita East, and I tell you, their clinic is just so homey. I don't know if it's because it's smaller and more contained, or what the deal is, but it's definitely homey. I got to see Irma, who was the first nurse I think I ever saw there at DaVita, and then ironically, I happen to know the other nurse who worked there personally, and so Beth, became my nurse, and she's who I followed over to West because Irma relinquished me to her, and yeah. So anyways, it was nice to see Irma. It's nice to go back to East just to take a peek of what's going on in there. And it's kind of cool because they're on the second floor. Sorry, I had to turn my alarm off there to remind me to do my exchange. So that was cool because, it's just a different environment. I feel like West is more clinical looking and East is more homey. They have like patio furniture in their entryway. And it just looks like someplace that if you're bringing somebody to go do hemodialysis, which is downstairs, or ground level, I should say, then you would feel kind of cozy sitting there waiting, I guess, or dropping them off there. Whereas West is a bigger clinic, and a lot of times you see all the patients lined up in the entry area before going in, so that's just a little different vibe. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't make a difference to me, but I just think it's interesting, the different styles of centers. So, and the room, because I want to say East is, well, I don't know, because downstairs I've never seen how big their downstairs clinic is, so maybe it's pretty large. I don't know what clinic is the biggest. I accidentally stumbled across a DaVita on Speedway and Craycroft or Swan or something like that. I think that was it. I went to see my friends play in a band, and I happened to glance over, and I'm like, DaVita? So that was kind of cool. But I didn't go inside, and it was at night, so I mean they weren't open, but it's just interesting. But good news is I don't have TB, like we were concerned. I do have a little bit of a bruise, though, for where she did the injection at, which happens because you're on dialysis and your body's just like, yep, we don't care. We're just going to let that do its thing, and we're going to take care of you over here. So I'm not too concerned with that, although the vein that she took my blood from it looks bruised too, which I'm not used to that because blood work is so simple, and I do it every 3 weeks or something, so I don't normally have any type of bruise afterwards, but I'm not blaming her at all because she's a visiting traveling nurse, and I'm just grateful that she was there to help, because otherwise it would have been probably pretty chaotic, especially because it took me so long to get there. However, today it was like 5 minutes. And, sometimes I think about that. I think about whether or not I want to transfer over to East once Deborah retires, which I think she was going to retire this fall, but I think she had mentioned that she's going to stay maybe another year or something like that. I told her I was willing to go to her house because I really feel like she's my friend. But there's not many people that I know that I don't just think like, oh, you're my friend. That's the curse of the extrovert. We just befriend everybody, apparently. And those we don't befriend is for a really good reason. So anyways, so yeah, that was a cool little venture. I was really mad because I had gotten my delivery for my purple hair dye yesterday, and it did not come packaged well. It was broken and open. So I took it by Amazon Return over at Kohl's, which is just down the street. So I went to the DaVita, ran by Walmart, got some coffee because, oh my gosh, we're almost out, and lemon because I'm doing lemon water in the morning. Hot lemon water as your first drink other than water is so good for your body because it really does hit your digestive system and your liver. So it helps to really clean it out. It takes a good while though, so it needs to become a habit. And then if you're like me, where you're kind of struggling with getting transportation to the grocery store, like I could order, no, I can't really. Anyways, it's just too expensive to order it when it's literally down the street, and I can use my son's car to go get it. But it's one of those like, do I do it today? Do I do it tomorrow? Should I just wait till the weekend? You know, those kind of things. But so we're fine and we're not starving, but I did need to get lemons, and then I grabbed some coffee. And I had accidentally ordered the wrong sized little jewelry bags, which I use to pour my diamond art into when I'm doing a selected piece. So I needed the right size. So I did that. I mean, oops, sorry. Kicked you. It's like a whole $2 thing, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But then I did go over to Amazon because I wanted to get that hair dye sent back, and I reported it to Amazon, and they're supposed to send me another bottle or another whole box kit that isn't open. Let's hope. And I sent that one back, and when I gave it to the cashier, I was like, that is open. And he's like, smells like hair dye. And his hair was green. And I was like, totally. He's like, just go to Sally's. It's just so much easier. And I said, I know, this said permanent purple hair dye, which I was really interested in using. I said, this last in my hair right here is called Splat, and I don't recommend that. And he's like, oh no, Splat's terrible. But he did say he uses Arctic Fox, which it isn't permanent, but it does tend to last, and you just have to take care of it. In the summer months, it's easy because when you dye your hair in the summer, especially in Tucson, you just take cold showers or tepid showers. You can't blast your way, but it's harder in the winter because even though Tucson isn't ravenous with winter temperatures, it still gets pretty chilly. So it's a little harder to do a cold shower, although I have done it. Technically, I do like wash my hair, and then some of the dye, runs out because that's just what dye does. And then I put the conditioner, and then I put it up. Then sometimes I'll turn up the water a little bit and cleanse and do whatever else I need to do. And then I'll turn it down a little bit to rinse out that conditioner, and then I'm done. So that's kind of my routine. But in the summer, it's definitely nicer because you're sweating, you're hot. You go in there, take a nice cold shower, and your hair tends to stay dyed. But I won't use Splat again. And it was $12, which isn't a whole lot in the terms of hair dye. But Enrage was just so good for so long. So anyways, yes, but funny that he recognized the smell of the hair dye right away. And I was like, yeah, let's get rid of that, package it up, put Hazard on there. I don't even know, it came chaotic. So, I got that returned, and then I came home, took Smokey out, and I had, on top of my shirt here, I had a little, light, it's not a sweatshirt, but it's like an active wear shirt that's long sleeves, just perfect because it keeps you, just a touch warm if it's a little chilly out, which it wasn't chilly, but, you never know. Sometimes you go into Walmart and you're, frozen because it's, the temperature is just so cold in there, so... In Tucson, you do have to layer, right? Pretty much anywhere, I think you have to layer it up. But in Tucson, it's just crazy how outside can be 150 and inside could be 50. And you feel like you need a jacket inside until you go outside, But I started sweating so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really hot, taking Smokey out to go potty. It was crazy. But... now I'm doing my second exchange. We talked about going to Phoenix tonight, which is not going to happen. I wish, because Zenora's playing, and Zenora gets to open for Kansas. So Kansas, I don't really know much of their music, but they definitely have a reputation because their main song, Carry On My Wayward Son, I think is the name of it, was in Supernatural. And so I'm a fan of Supernatural. And of course, that was very cool. And to know that my good friend Zenora is opening for it, that would have been double cool. but it is about 2 hours away during rush hour traffic. Donnie is going to have to drive all the way from across town, basically a great location to go to Phoenix at, to come back across town, a good 45-minute, maybe an hour drive, pick me up to go back across town and up to Phoenix. Sorry about that. That's the landscapers doing their thing. It's an ostrich festival, which is funny, but anyways, Donnie also has to record tomorrow with his band. So I'm like, where? Sonora doesn't even go on till like 7:45. Kansas doesn't go on till 9:30 or something, which means if we stay just an hour or two, depending, like, oh my God. And the tickets are going to cost us probably about $70. Now, here's the other thing. If you are a Chandler resident, you can go to that show for like $7. I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, I understand giving your people a discount, but I'm also like, I'm driving, I'm having to feed us on the road, gas money, getting into this festival thing, like having to pay for food when you're at the festival. If you do, we wouldn't, because that's just not the food we eat, or any rides, because it's basically like a little fair. And I'm like, no thank you. Even though I totally would want to go, I just don't think we should, because by the time we get home from all of that, then Donnie sleeps a couple hours, and then he has to go record. And then we have a funeral to go to tomorrow. And we have a birthday party to go to tomorrow. And we have like 3 or 4 different gigs to hit tomorrow. And tomorrow's just heavy for some reason. I don't know what the deal is, but it's good though, because, you know, you got to keep living. Just got to keep living. So anyways, that's my day with my life with kidney disease. So I'll talk to you guys later. Drink your water. Bye-bye.